Warning, the following video is an example of how not to film a video for the internet. It is a cautionary tale of technology in the hands of a brain-damaged dyslexic army grunt who finds the function knob on a video camera and says to himself, "What could go wrong?" Viewer discretion and a lot of alcohol are advised.
Hello everybody, Terrence Popp here with another episode of Live from the Lair. Alright, now I'm going to be covering my book, The Warrior's Way and the Soldier's Soul, for a while, on and off. Because since I wrote it in 2012, that's 11 years ago, I have received hundreds of requests for me to do an audio book on it. Well, I don't have the money to have somebody read the audio book, maybe in the future. But this one here, I'm just going to read you the first stance, read the description to you, then I'm going to explain, what I was thinking when I made these decisions or when I wrote this book. And one of the main things that forced me to write this book was literally the universe demanding it.
When do we want it? Now!
When I started writing this book, I literally could not stop until it was completed. Now, it was my very first one. There are a lot of grammar and spelling issues that I need to take care of. But it was my first one, and I was using a bottom-of-the-barrel editor. So you get what you get, you don't throw a fit. Now, I am going to upgrade the book and add some additional pages to it with some more, basically, epiphanies of my so-called wisdom in the book. Now, it's gotten some pretty good reviews, but it's not written for everyone. If you're one of those people, as soon as you see a comma out of place or something misspelled, you lose interest in the book, and, this isn't for you. And this book is very condescending, very direct, uses a lot of swear words. I do back up a lot of what I have to say with small stories that happened during my life to help me learn these lessons. So I am trying to get this wisdom out there to the young guys, because quite literally, this book, not only can it help you out with life, but if you had to go to war and come back from war and now you're struggling trying to live with the consequences of that, then this book is for you. Okay, now, some of the stuff I'm going to cover is going to make a lot of people angry. Are there minor contradictions? I would say yes, mainly because life is not black and white. For the most part, it is thousands and thousands of shades of gray.
Are you the kind of person who's run out of feelings to hurt?
Please send all of your hate mail to my ass, because I don't care.
Then we have the Redonkulas swag for you. And we have multiple locations where you can get it. Go to the Stream Elements store or Crypto Fashion and embrace your inner fat punisher. Because after all,
there's a little bad pop in all of us. Even your mother.
Shirts, stickers, mugs, and hats are on sale now. Your support helps keep us independent from big tech and keeps this life-saving train on the tracks. Links are in the Meat Gazer box.
So here's the very first one. All right, now I've heard this particular saying, I don't know, maybe 10,000, 20,000 times in my 33-year military career. And number one, if you are not cheating, you ain't trying. And if you get caught, you're not trying hard enough. All right, you grunts out there, I know you've all heard this. a bazillion times. It doesn't matter if you're 0311 or 11 Bravo or any of the combat MOSs across all the branches. All right. And basically, what I'm trying to say here is life is fucked up, and you always need to look for something that gives you the edge. Okay, I start off here. I've heard this saying countless times during my Army career, but I've never truly understood it until I expanded my point of view. What I thought it meant was anything goes, and breaking of the rules was just part of the method. What I discovered is there are no rules. The universe has no handouts, no rule book, no syllabus to guide you through it. It just is. Now, don't get me wrong. I always treated laws and rules and regulations as merely guidelines anyway, but even that was limiting. Once you come to understand that the guidelines exist in the minds of the people, you've become limitless. I am not advocating going amok and committing horrific acts of aggression or other heinous crimes. The fact that there is no rules does not mean there are no consequences for your actions. The consequences are real here, and they will stop your actions. Listen, life has decisions, actions, and consequences. It is what it is. And even if the rules of law fail, you will learn this fact in short order. For in truth, it is the fear that holds you back from the onslaught of real bad decisions. Okay, I operated as a Special Forces soldier, a Green Beret. The power we wielded at our fingertips was not just the guns or the new fancy weapons, nor the tools given to us. It was our ability to play fast and loose with the rules that made us so deadly. Green Berets are wielded to destroy civilizations and to change human history. Once I realized that, I was deeply moved that my country deemed me worthy enough to forge me into such an implement. Countless resources and tax dollars were expended in my making. Literally thousands of men are torn apart and crushed just to find me. When completed, I was left a dangerous, independent, outside-the-box thinker. And once made, we cannot be unmade. We forever operate at levels that far exceed the norm. Notice that I said thinker. There are soldiers and operators who can outrun and outgun me any day of the week. But the difference is the thinking. That is the critical skill. During my career, I was well known for my cheat, nasty antics. I did not even care about the process or consequences. I only cared about the results. Many times I made impossible happen with absolutely nothing. And even to this day, I am well known for my resourcefulness. I took countless ass chewings and loved every one of them. Sometimes, when it was over, I graded the offending officer on a scale of 1 to 10. Let me tell you, they really love that. A side note. Basically, I graded the effectiveness of their ass chewing. And this always went over well. Not. I always kept this in mind now that I did run the show. All right, so what I'm trying to tell you guys here, and these explanations are in between the margins of this book. All right. Now, typically, when you are inside the civilization, you're going to have a whole bunch of laws and rules and regulations. Now, if you break some of the major laws, you're going to get your pee-pee spanked. But the way we structure our world and society, that for you to get ahead, you're going to have to break some rules and regulations. You're going to have to operate under the guise of forgiveness and not permission. Permission is slow. Forgiveness, it's not always given, but usually it's given immediately upon request. That's just my observation. All right, so what I'm trying to tell you here is while I was in the service, I had at my fingertips, I could get on the radio and call gunships. I can call in fast movers, drop thousands upon thousands of ordnance on individuals. I had the latest and greatest, most accurate weapons, the best training that you can possibly get your hands on. But when you finally step into the box, you will realize everything that you were taught out of the books is two-dimensional and it's black and white. On the ground, in the real world, you're going to have to make gray decisions all the time. A lot of people are going to say, hey, you cheated. Did you really cheat? Or were you taking steps to succeed and bring your people home alive? Because this is fucking war. In war, let's be realistic. For the most part, it doesn't really have any rules. At least not up front. Most of the time, if you really step on your dick and you break a lot of major rules and laws while you're in uniform, at some point it is going to catch up to you. I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about murder or assassination or any of the high level, really dark black shit. I'm talking about, hey, you need some tires. You go to the motor pool, they tell you they don't have any. Okay. The middle of the night when it gets dark, you go to the area where all the deadline vehicles are, and you take the tires off of them. Now, there's rules about, cannibalizing and stripping vehicles. All right. Are you going to let one of those minor little inconveniences keep you from being mission effective? Or, at worst, getting people wounded or killed? I don't know about you, but in the war zone, getting an ass chewing for stealing 3 to 4 tires is well worth it. I've seen it done many times. Here's another case in point. All right. Now, technically, is this cheating? Not really. We called it G2 in the military. Now, when I went to Special Forces selection, we were going in under the new selection criteria, which they modeled directly off the SAS selection criteria for their top-tier operators. I believe I was in the second iteration, maybe the third, from when they first started this new standard in the early 90s. And I'm going to tell you right now, every morning I got up, went out to formation. I almost every day I was reassigned to a new squad because during the night people quit, went on sick call, or in some cases died. Yes. I went to selection in July. It was crazy goddamn hot at Camp McCall. They didn't really have the safety left and right limits in place because they just went over to a new standard. Every single day, there were so many medevac helicopters in the air. It reminded me of Yellow Jackets hovering over toast. And yes, some of those individuals died from heat stroke. I believe one guy had a heart attack. Not that he had a severe amount of blockage, but he had sweated so much, he screwed up the electrolytes in his blood. His heart V-fibbed. They couldn't get it under control, and he was pronounced dead, I believe, inside 90 minutes at Womack Army Hospital. All right, that is what was told to me by one of the cadres after the fact. Now, Did I see all of these individuals die? I did not. I'm just telling you what I was told. That it was somewhere between 4 and 6 individuals died. Many more were crippled and broken for life. All right. So before I went there, I interviewed individuals who went there before me. And I found out exactly what each event was and the order of said events. They gave me a ballpark of how far it was and what they did to succeed. And I just locked that up in the brain pan for G2. And I did that for every single event. All right. The only thing you really can't prepare for in selection are the IQ tests and the psycho eval tests and the one sit-down psycho eval you'll get while there. That's pretty much it. And I showed up to selection. I had a pretty good idea of what I had to do. I knew the left and right limits for the most part of every single event they wanted from me. So going into the events, I had the added luxury of knowing what it was, a ballpark figure of how long the event was and how much time it would take ballpark. All right. That was a lot easier than, stepping into the event, not knowing what you're doing at all, and then having to plan on the fly. That tripped up a lot of individuals. And most of the time on the teams I was assigned to, I was one of the major contributors into the whiz-bangery needed to do some of the shit you're required to do in selection. One of the hardest ones for me was when we had to push a Jeep with 3 wheels a little over 5 miles in a 127-degree July afternoon at Camp McCall. And we had to basically rig a lattice out of aluminum poles and have individuals sitting on the counterbalancing, side of the poles to bring the truck level. And then we all pulled and pushed it. And I literally watched the other teams, because we're in lanes, just fail hand over fist at this. They just, I couldn't wrap my head around it. Like Special Forces selection is one of those events that you wait a lifetime to go, and most people are only going to get one shot at it. Okay? And showing up there unprepared, in my opinion, was a major sin. If you want to succeed at something, you need to fucking know what's going on. I even did the same thing for the Delta Force selection. The lengths of their land navigation, their road marching lengths, the time it takes to do it, where it's held, which is somewhere, I believe, in West Virginia. I have to look it up. I haven't looked at that information in years. But what I'm trying to convey to you guys here is simply this. In life, every single day, you are going to have to face an onslaught of decisions. And a lot of those decisions are going to require actions, and every single action has consequences. If you want to succeed, you got to lose your fear of all of those consequences. Because some of them, yes, you're going to have to follow, i.e., mass murder, rape, stealing high-value items, violence, what have you, is usually frowned upon. But getting a test in college, signing out one of the older textbooks for that class, and then just reviewing what the test was on, because a lot of these books, people leave notes. You're literally reading the notes of somebody who took the class before you. They may or may not be right, but they at least put you in the ballpark to make your job a lot easier. Okay, so hopefully you found this particular one interesting. I'm going to continue this moving forward. And once I've gone through every, stance inside the Warrior's Way and Soldier Soul book, which is on Kindle, we're probably going to wrap the whole thing into one big DVD, and then everyone could sit down and, listen to it if they wish. All right. And I am going to be reprinting this book using print on demand. And I might be switching to a new company called Draft to Digital over Amazon. Not really too pleased on how Amazon has been conducting business and so forth. I'm not going to go into the details. But anyway, that's me for today. You guys take it easy.